Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 48 of LostinTranslationmon. I'm May.
And I'm Jay.
This week we watched Holy Night, Large Assembly of Digimon.
I've got the big Digimon reunion.
Yeah, as I say every week, I use Digimon Wiki as translations because I can't bother writing them down and actually watch the show.
I know, but this one's such a weird one.
No, the second one's worse, but we'll get to that.
Oh, okay. The other name is A Very Digi Christmas.
Or Everyone Move Out in PLDramon, which was also written as something like
General Mobilization.
Yeah, General Mobilization in PLDramon. So Digimon Wiki, what are you doing? I might just look at Wikimon from now on, I think.
Too literal, I guess.
Yeah, it takes it too literal.
Or Draymon Power.
And we'll go into Obnoxious Synopsis, where Jay has no idea what the second episode will be, because guess what? I kind of hid the part that's relevant to anything.
Yep, there's a lot of Draymons, did you know that?
Yep, and I kind of I grabbed that in PLDramon, I was like, I'm just going to cover that up and make it Everyone Move Out. So yeah, Jay had no idea what was coming up. So the first episode that we're watching this week is called A Very Digi Christmas, or Holy Night, Large Assembly of Digimon. What do you think will happen this episode?
I don't know, I get a feeling this is just going to be a feel-good episode with no, story in it. We already kind of covered a bit of this episode in our Christmas special, where we talked about the poetry in the middle, in the English one, and just, looking at everyone having fun with their family and in Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
I don't... there probably is a conflict of some kind, but I can't imagine what it could possibly be. I'd really prefer it to be just an episode that just covers, the kids with their families and their Digimon and just hanging out. That's what I want it to be, so that's what I'm going to say it is.
So, do you think anybody will be the focus, or do you think it'll be focused on all the kids?
No, it should be on all of them fairly evenly.
Do you think it'll be a good episode?
I'm really hoping so. I think it's difficult to screw up making someone feel good about friends hanging out, but I'm a little bit afraid, considering how bad recent episodes have been, that it is entirely within their power to make it terrible.
And do you think any of the original kids will star in this episode?
Star? No. Show up? Maybe. It makes sense for Tai to show up, maybe, but I don't know.
And what do you think you'll rate it?
I think it'll be really sweet, and I'll give it an 8, but that's amazingly optimistic.
That is very optimistic. The second episode that we're going to be covering this week is called Dramon Power, or Everyone Move Out. What do you think will happen in this episode?
God, that is actually one of the most unhelpful titles ever, and I've said that before, but actually, Draymon is an ending.
Mm-hmm.
So, hold on. I'm trying to think if multiple people have Draymons, and I'm not sure that they do. I know that that Davis has 2 of them.
Yep.
But by and large, we don't actually have that many.
Technically, Davis has 3. Davis has Flaydramon, Raydramon, and Pyldramon.
Yeah, but they're not multiple kids with Draymons.
Oh, right, yeah.
God, I'm drawing a huge blank. I can't answer that at all.
So you can't even
I've
have
got
hazard a guess?
nothing. Those are so unhelpful.
Oh, okay. So do you think any kids will be the focus of these
Dude,
episodes?
it's so unhelpful. I can get nothing.
So do you hope it'll be a bad episode? Do you think it'll be a good episode?
I can't. I've got nothing. There's not a single inference you can bring out of there will be a Draymon in this episode and they're going somewhere. Pretty much that describes every episode of Digimon.
Alright, so you don't want to give it a guess rating?
I don't want to guess anything because I think this might be amongst the least information I've ever been given about an episode. And it's coming right after the Christmas special, so it will have no relation to that at all.
Okay. Alright, so I guess we'll just find out then.
I think we will.
Alright. Oh, also I want you to watch both these episodes in English first.
Alrighty then. I'll try to keep that in mind.
Yep, I'll remind you.
Alright, onto the show.
For Diginews, I'm not sure how many people actually play Digimon Heroes, if it's just me. But
That's
there's
correct.
a Digimon Heroes. It has the new storyline quest, which is about the little cute horned guy who was kind of the poster child for the game, is finally in the game.
That's cute. Let's move on to the next piece of Diginews.
No, go away. Paildramon's in there too. Titamon's in there too. Yeah, I really like Paildramon. And also there's another race-specific map where you have to be part of the dragon race, and you get Hawkmon and Thunderbirdmon. Hawkmon is a common, but it doesn't drop, and I find that the god level Digimon drop more than the common. Anywho, and now to LostinNewsLatelymon.
That's terrible.
Yeah, I came up with that. I was like, why haven't I not thought of that before? So that's our new news that revolves around us. You probably noticed that we haven't done the video, and that's because I couldn't get the Roxio to work when I was using the HDMI output. I got the component cable, which was the input, plugged into my PS2 and the HDMI part, so I need to look for the 3 RCA component cable and a 2 RCA component cable for the audio. Because apparently 5 RCA to 5 RCA just does not exist. I've looked everywhere. I went to a specialist electronics store and they're like, yeah, we didn't stock that. I'm not even sure if it exists. I'm like, okay, great. Okay, I guess I'm buying a 3 RCA and a 2 RCA. So that's my next attempt at wrestling, playing the games and recording them. But yeah, so I have been working on it. That was true. And maybe I'll do some video with the toy if I can't do it with a game, so I will do some video. Also, I need to edit the board game video. That's also coming, but I've just been very, very busy, and also wrestling with the Roxio. Yeah.
Well, look, so we're doing a show about a show from like 2002, or set in 2002.
Yep.
Why don't we just do it like it's in 2002 and just film the screen? Huh?
Well, I actually kind of want to do that by filming a Game Boy game that I have that's like this very bootlegged Digimon game. It's very hard. You play as Agumon, butterflies in it. It's very, very hard, and I will play it one day. There are also things that dance around that look like Geodude if Geodude was green poop.
Okay.
I'll show you sometime.
Isn't that just Numemon?
That's a point. For Postmon Pat, Fexmith on With the Will has shown us this Tumblr, which I haven't seen before, and it just grabs like strange Digimon screen grabs. And there's one in particular that Fexmith wanted to show us, and it's from the Digimon movie, or Hurricane Touchdown. So, as you can see, I'll link this in the description. The first one is from Hurricane Touchdown, and we see Miyako, and with Poromon, and we see Iori with Upamon. From Digimon the movie Part 3, we have Miyako and Poromon, and Miyako and Poromon.
They got confused by the coloring.
No, they recolored Iori.
No, but I mean, like, it's clear that someone, like, colored in Miyako and was like, okay, cool, and then another artist was like, oh, Miyako's down here, because they saw, like, the wing ball.
Yeah, but why do they need to recolor it? I guess the coloring was slightly different.
Look, to be totally honest, the answer is I don't know.
Yeah, the answer is they really like Miyako.
Do you think that's like a frame, or is that like there for the whole scene?
I don't know. It doesn't say, but I would say it's a scene. But yeah, so that's interesting. We like when people show us stuff. Fexmith says that he's sad about the death of Koji Wada, and it was always a dream of his to go to one of his concerts. And it was always one of my dreams as well, because, you know, he was pretty young. He was 42.
Well, if they can make Tupac a hologram, they can make Koji Wada a hologram.
I'd spend so much money to see that. And you've been learning how to play Butterfly on guitar, haven't you?
I did learn it. I don't know how to do the solo, but solos are hard. I can play the rest of it perfectly.
I will sing it with you and we'll do a tribute.
Alrighty then.
Fexmith continues to say that he's happy that we've finally reached his favourite arc of Digimon 02.
The only good one.
And he says that he only remembers having 2 Digimon toys growing up, which is very sad. Everyone needs more Digimon toys.
Also, that was not fair. The Digimon Kaiser had its moments. You know, go ahead.
He had Holsimon and Impieldramon.
I thought it said Hoistmon.
Hoistmon. Yeah. And then he says that he loves how Impieldramon sounds like a jet or a spaceship in the anime. That's pretty cool. Do we only have one with the will? Apparently we did. Alright. On Gmail, John Summers has sent us a message saying that Omegamon doesn't look much like Metal Garurumon and WarGreymon except for the head and arms, so why does Omegamon look cool to Jay but not Shakurmon?
Because, I mean, I guess he had... Wait, well, the thing is about Omegamon is that, like, at least you can see the elements of the two of them. You can see, there's WarGreymon and there's Metal Garurumon. And at the end of the day, you go, okay, the center bit's weird, but you're also kind of making a concession to the whole Royal Knights thing, because they have to be this weird Gundam shape. Shakurmon does not look like a dinosaur, nor does he look like an angel. He looks like a tin can. If you looked at both Digimon together and then looked at that, you could not pick any elements, I don't think, besides thematic elements, that would be relevant to them at all. There's nothing about it that relates. So as a DNA, as a Jogress, basically, when you're trying to combine two things together, it's too theoretical. it has it has no visual indicators, and I think the design, if by itself it's totally fine, but as a combination of those two things, is really lame.
Then he says the Holy Beast should have been replaced by other less powerful Ultimate Digimon. The Rise made the Holy Beast a cheap plot device to keep them from helping the chosen children earlier on. The problem with them is the fact that they were sealed by the Dark Masters to begin with, but just one of those boosts should have been enough to take on the Dark Masters, which I agree with.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if if Holy Angemon can beat Piedmon or whatever it was.
Yeah, but it was assisted with MetalGreymon. But still, it was assisted by...
But basically, if these kids can beat... Okay, here's how it goes. If these kids can beat the Dark Masters, and these kids can't beat Angstmon, who can't beat a Holy Beast, it is clear that the Holy Beast is better than the kids, and the kids can beat the Dark Masters, which means the Dark Masters are pretty crap, all things considered.
Yeah. But they were, at least they were good for plot.
Just doing some power math.
Yeah.
Have they yet said the words the Dark... I think they did. They did say the Dark Masters has imprisoned them, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Qinglongmon explained it.
They said it once.
I keep on wanting to call him a Zulongmon because that's what I've always known him as. And then my brain wants to call him Qinglongmon because that's what I see it as. But it's Qinglongmon.
Yeah.
If I ever call him Qinglongmon, which I'm sure I will, I'll slip up and say, it's not my fault.
A Zulongmon is much like Cody in that they are English names that I forget exist.
You forget a Zulongmon? I guess because you already knew Qinglong was a...
Yeah, that's all I know him as.
Yeah, because I read the Digimon fanfic that you wrote.
And I mixed the names.
Yeah, you were like Iori and Yoli.
Yep.
Yep.
Totally fine.
That was basically the only complaint, except for now I have to draw illustrations for it.
Do you? Is that part of the thing?
Yeah, I added it, so it wasn't just you doing work. It was like, May can't draw, but May will illustrate this
you
for
never
you.
actually gave me any feedback besides, I like it.
No, that's because, I've been busy, and I wanted to talk about it in person.
Okay.
But yeah, so...
Well, let's talk about it afterwards. I added one line that I think you'll like.
Okay, I'll...
Do you want to mention it here?
Sure.
It's just after Yoli falls down. I've just added the line, and due to an animation error, her hair was green for a few frames.
I like that. And then John Summers asks, what ultimate Digimon would we have used instead of the Holy Beast? And I'm trying to think of it.
You make up your own.
I know who's the ultimate Digimon. Close your eyes for a second. I want this to be a surprise.
Okay. Is it a penguin?
No.
Big penguin
robot?
robot?
It's a Daipenmon. Hang on, I'm trying to find a... Okay, so... but before you open your eyes...
Yeah.
There was a time when Digimon was new, and it was Digimon World. So they had the idea of what they wanted the Digimon to look like.
Yeah.
Except for one Digimon in particular, which is a little bit different looking to his final design. And this is Cherrymon. You can now look at my screen.
Oh boy.
Na 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 na.
Oh, okay then.
So yeah, he looks like that.
That's really creepy.
And someone's drawn him again.
Some Silent Hill stuff.
And this is what he looks like.
In the show.
Yeah, in the show.
No.
Yeah, so...
The teachings of the forest.
Yeah, so I think that Cherrymon, even though he's a perfect level, should replace them. But in all seriousness,
I don't know how many ultimates I actually know, but I think the point is looking at stuff that's meant to have either a holy element to it or some kind of god form. And I honestly think that your best bet is the human-sized or the people-shaped kids as final Digimon. So you got WarGreymon, what's it called? Holy Angemon? What's the one above that?
Seraphimon.
Seraphimon would be good for it.
Actually, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, in the novels...
Rosemon?
Yes, best Digimon. In the novels, they explain that... Oh, no, definitely Derrymon. Definitely the bowtie bird. They explain that... You know how they talk about the original kids before the Adventure Children?
Yes.
They explained that the Holy Beasts were actually their partners.
Okay, then. Who got partnered with Qinglongmon?
Well, obviously they evolved up to that form, and that was their perfect, their ultimate form.
They were in the digital world when it was just the military contrivance, is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, pretty lucky to be put up against, a holy Digimon, but alright. But yes, to get back to my question, the answer, I can't really say too much because of spoilers for Frontier, but the holy ones, what are they called? the Holy something, the Holy
Guardians?
Trio, the Holy Guardian, something like that. There are 3 of them. They're angelic. Celestial Trio, I think they're
Okay,
called.
Celestial Guardians, I think it is. No?
You haven't seen Frontier?
I feel like they mentioned it. You said, oh, they mentioned that phrase already. Anyway, go ahead.
No, the Harmonious ones. No, that's...
That was it, the Harmonious
but
ones.
that's to refer to the Holy Beasts.
Oh, okay. Sure.
What I'm talking about is from season 4, which we start January next year.
Celestial Tribunal.
It's Celestial Trio or something, but yeah, I don't want to say who they are because that's for you, but I think you'll like them.
It's gonna be Numamon and Hawkmon and...
Pokemon 100%.
What's that big bald-headed man who drinks alcohol? Nanimon. That's the third one. Those are my OT3.
The next email's from Chuckmon, and they say that episodes 36 and 37 were pretty rubbish, but we missed some of the best of the awful dub lines, which is cleanliness is next to Diginews, which I did notice that, I just forgot to say it. It is beautiful.
Distinctly recall that.
And Shakurmon saying, I'll prove my metal, because he's made out of metal.
I like that, but like, we can't just point out every pun the show makes.
Oh, that'd be... I don't want to do a 4-hour show.
LostinTranslationmon.
Like, I always try to aim to keep episodes an hour and a half, because that's how I personally think, like, if I listen to a podcast, the perfect timing is an hour and a half. Also because the longer it is, the longer it is to edit. But I think that an hour and a half is not too long and not too short. It gets a good length in. But though the way we're going from just Postmon Pat, it might be not that's that. So let's breeze through this. The ending narration of episode 36 was "Don't miss the Battle of the Century" on the next episode. Which, for one thing, there was no Battle of the Century really.
We're getting
just
there.
kind of like Qinglongmon shows up. There's not really much else that happens. BlackWarGreymon runs off because he's angsty. He goes off to cry in his bedroom and listen to My Chemical Romance. When I was a young mon.
My father mon. He told me.
He took me to the Digi-City to see
the Digiband.
He said, son, when you grow...
We're done.
I can't even remember the lyrics. Strange song. Chuckmon says that Bakumon is super cute, and they like how in the original he was reading off menu items. Bakumon's best.
Well, he wasn't exactly. He was just saying food names. There was no menu in front of him. And he would say it at all times.
I love him so much. Go away. If you talk bad about my baby, I will be very angry.
Hey, he's very cute. Just has a very soft skull is all I'm saying.
Aww. He reminds me of Cubone.
Yeah.
Chuckmon says that they liked the animation in episode 36. Daisuke's hair was noticeably more wavy and lush, and Iori looks more animated, which, you know, is every time I see Iori, he doesn't look very animated, so...
It's fair.
The best part was Daisuke and Miyako arguing over food. It's a scene that shows how alike they are.
I did enjoy that, except it's really weird saying Davis was right.
No, Miyako's right.
No, he was absolutely right. She wanted that. She got upset that he took the particular bun, and he goes, they're all the same. And she's like, but I want that one.
No, I agree with Miyako. She wanted that bun, and she fought for it, and she wouldn't let the patriarchy stand in her way.
She holds grudges when it comes to food.
Chuckmon still hates BlackWarGreymon.
Good.
And says, but now we can move on to another block of episodes in 02 that I really like. The last good block was episodes 24 to 29, where Ken slowly joins his team, Dai Ken fan shipping starts up here, and the Giga House. While the next episodes that I love is coming up. Episodes 38 to 42. I can't wait for these episodes. Without suggesting spoilers, May, if you do another triple episode this week, I'd recommend doing 40, 41, 42 together. I love this set. Can't wait to get Jay's impressions and totally fan out with May.
The answer is that we are doing that.
Yeah, we'd already, as soon as I saw them coming up, I was like, Jay, guess what? We're going to do 3 episodes in 1 episode. But we'll be covering it basically as one big clump.
And I remember, I think I had a very eloquent reply. It was curling onto the floor in a fetal position and crying a little bit.
Yeah, but... I'm not 100% how much I like the Digimon World Tour arc. Well, like mini arc, it's like a kind of 3-episode part of thing. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I hate it. It's interesting, definitely.
I'm a little bit concerned.
I just remembered the best lines in it. No, I love it. I love it. I just remembered all the good lines. Yeah, continue.
I'm a little concerned it's going to be, look, Digimon in France. Look, Digimon in Australia. Look, Digimon in Berlin. And that's going to be like the whole 3 episodes.
But the best thing is they speak, in the original at least, they speak the language that place is. Also, I'm pretty sure, for memory, I think either the dub or the original or both think that the Gold Coast and Sydney are near each other.
Well, when Imperial Dramon travels in the blink of an eye...
Yeah, but that's a double eye.
That's such a lie.
It's 30 minutes around the world. Still fast, not that fast.
It's really fast, actually.
Yeah, but not as fast as, like, a blink of the eye.
Yeah.
Now we have a new listener who's called Ray of Truth.
Nice.
And they say that they've recently discovered the podcast after they found a long-lost love of Digimon. And then they say, sorry if you guys already talked about this. I'm only almost at the part where you guys start Adventure 02.
You're going to hear your letter in a little while.
But I wanted to send this before you guys start Tamers, in case May doesn't mention it or hasn't seen Serial Experiments Lane. That's probably not knowing something semi-important related to the Digimon show.
I've heard of this show before.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about it.
I've always wanted to watch it. I thought I'd send you this message. Basically, Tamers, which is you're about to get to, has a bit of history with Lane. Tamers and Lane have the same head writer, who is the writer who did the Cthulhu episode.
Okay.
Yep.
Duly noted.
And
what I think about Lane is that I haven't seen it, by the way.
I really want to watch it. Maybe, like, if we're bored on a rainy day, we'll watch it, and then we'll cover it on the podcast as a special, maybe a while from now, though. Now, before we get on to our last Gmail email, I will go to Tumblr, where Jonathan the Multiman says, I agree with Jay on a Phanimon over Holydramon / Magnumon.
Yes, you do.
And on that note, Digimon World 4 I would highly recommend, as Jonathan the Multiman says that he and his stepbrother used to play it for hours without stopping until the disc broke. Also, it has co-op story mode.
That is dedication.
And while we're on that topic, I'm just going to get to the poll, because I haven't checked it for a while, and I still want to see if people are wrong or not. Ooh. Holydramon is losing. Oh, I just thought it was on the top, so it was winning. Okay. Holydramon is losing 81 to 85.
Nice. We're still winning, guys.
So,
all day.
Guys, what are you doing? Do you not like pink dragon puppies?
Of course they don't. They prefer Angel Woman because that matches.
No.
And people like things in nice, concise sets.
I will 1v1
as they were meant to be. They were always meant to be. Like Tai and Sora. Anyway.
And, yep.
So, we have, from Mooching Long, we have a Gmail, and it goes, what is up, May and Jay? Yeah, it's me again. Like a giant exposition spouting Blue Dragon, I have come to discuss a children's media franchise from the late 90s at length. Again. But fear not, this week I'll be brief, relatively speaking, and that is not true. You cut these down sometimes. We will not be doing that at this moment. But this is the longest.
I've been too busy to cut it down.
This is the longest message I've ever seen for the show. So buckle up. Due to my unfortunate requirement to be a productive, functioning member of society, but I digress. Look, Digimon shares a name with Wuching Long, but it's a total coincidence. Now that one of the Holy Beasts is showed, they figured it's about time to expound on the real-world inspiration for them. 02 attempts to do this and fails pretty hard. Whether they should have even bothered is definitely up for debate, since it doesn't really add to the story. Let's take a look at how they describe them, compare them to the Guardians of Kyoto's Four Gates, which represent the cardinal directions. They're supposed to be 5 beasts, first of all. Spirits, gods, whatever. And another thing is that the show says this legend is from Kyoto, which, while technically correct, completely misses the actual origin of the idea of these Digimon. Is that a joke that we're doing, or is that just like a misspell? I don't know. Anyway,
my says I'm pretty good. Gmail has very small text.
It does say Digimon, so we're going with Digimon.
They're the champions.
Convenient Digimon. What is conveniently unmentioned is that this idea of beasts that protect and rule an area based on the cardinal directions isn't Japanese in origins. It's from China. What are you laughing at?
I remember Dogmons.
Dogimons. Dogimons.
Nando, continue.
Greenmon. Green. So
B-Dogmon. Continue.
Buzzymon. Sadly, this is wrongly crediting Japan for Chinese ideas, extremely common in cultures unfamiliar with Southeast Asia. But once again, I digress. The 5, not 4 holy beasts from the Chinese idea of Wu Qing, also known as the 5 elements, 5 phases, 5 agents, a lot of different 5s. Or are they anyway, more specifically, the idea of the 5 directions within Wu Qing is where Qinglongmon's origin stems from. In traditional Chinese cosmology, there's a set of deities that protect one of the four cardinal directions, each affiliated with one of the five elements. They are the Azure Dragon of the East, which is Qinglong, the Vermilion Bird of the South, which is Zhuque, probably.
I thought it was Ju. We were told how to pronounce this.
I don't know that one. The White Tiger of the East, which is Baihu, and the Black Tortoise of the North, which is Zhanwu, probably, or Zhangyu.
We were told how to pronounce these. I can't.
No, we'll just keep going this way.
Yeah.
Now about now, you're probably wondering how there can be a fifth deity if there's only four directions. It's rather simple, really. All these guys just listed are unified by a guy who sits in the center. His name is the Yellow Dragon of the center, which is Huanglong. People forget about this guy a lot. Buddhism's rise in popularity in Japan caused a decline of popularity of these things being worshipped, but their influence is still seen all over Southeast Asia, and they pop up in various media not too infrequently. Also, the one that shares a name with our lovely letter writer, Wu Qinglong, had to show up in O2. Poor guy. But they digress. Do we not? I guess it's a stupid question, but we don't see the other holy beasts, I guess.
I don't think we ever see Huanglong, but we do see the other one, so I'll just show you what Huanglongmon looks like.
Well, you said there were only four holy beasts.
Yeah. So
that's the fifth one.
This one is when they all... don't look at that, because that just had a picture of all of them. So this is what all of them jog us into.
Oh, they actually have they actually made a Digimon for it, even though you never see it.
Yeah, well, it's in the card game.
Alright, well, that's cool. It has to be the best one, then.
It's Huanglongmon.
It must be the most powerful, disgusting...
Yeah, it's the Yellow Dragon that all of them form in.
No, but it must be like the most powerful card. Like, there can't be anything that beats that.
Presumably.
It's a Joggers of four holy beasts. That's bonkers ballistic.
Yeah.
So anyway, continuing... let's see. I'd be brief and have utterly failed in following through with that intent, so let me leave you with a patented super being of the East poem. Alright, everybody. Get in the mood for slam poetry, which I don't know how to do, but let's go. Every episode I can imagine May receiving from Jay a glower after he is made to suffer wonderful dialogue such as, the flower. But still, I hope that Jay finds some joy in this effort. Otherwise, it is no different from us viewers?
Us viewers.
Enjoying his torture as sport. LostinTranslationmon has begun the final stretch of 02. I'd like to say it gets better, but I can be quite biased. It's true. Hang in there, Jay, is all I can say. Once we reach Tamer's, things will be better, I'm sure.
I hope.
Konaka far surpasses the writers of Adventure. That's sick. And what about the Senryu? Don't worry, I got it right there.
Isn't that what Ryu does as an attack?
You mean the Hadoken?
The Senryu. Shoryuken. Yeah, I'm making a joke. It wasn't very funny. So I have to read this in Japanese, and it's very small, and my eyesight's not very good, but I will try. So, Zerotsu no Owai su Jigaki Naorukana.
Which is 02's weak plot. Can it be saved? And I say, that's all from me this week. Once again, thank you guys for all the hours of entertainment. Qinglong of the nation state of Wu. Followed by even more PSs than last week. I'm pretty sure. So, we got PS, and I am now under an obligation to say every S, I recall. So PS, Ophanimon is better than Tailmon, is the better Tailmon Ultimate, but why do they gotta only have one? There is actually more media depicting multiple evolution possibilities from the same species. They're just saying. I guess that's true, but like, I don't know, I always think, as far as the show goes, the show always is pretty explicit that they have one, as far as like direct evolutions. Not armor or anything. PSS, my bad for not clarifying about Meikrumon. The time frame is definitely there before Tri-Chapter 2, and it most definitely involves universe-hopping shenanigans. I have no idea what any of that means. PSSS, may I swear to whichever deity the one listening to this fears the most, if you keep mentioning yokai, I'm going to have to write in explaining the difference between yokai, bakemono, and obake, and you're right, that's going to be a really long letter. We should not talk about them anymore. They didn't do extensive research and deal with the reporting Japanese on the topic to have the categories be conflated. PSSSS.
Are you missing the part where it says, just kidding, even the Japanese have a hard time defining the difference?
Oh, alright. So, I've been bringing a lot on the Digimob's Minecraft mod lately, and I gotta say that it's pretty fun. It recently moved to Beta 1, and there'll be, and while there's bugs aplenty, it's a lot like playing Digimon Masters Online.
I love Digimon
You grind a
Masters
bunch,
Online.
you grind a bunch of Digimon and items. Key difference is it's easier to get Digimon,
Oh,
still
thank
somewhat
God.
challenging, and when you get bored of grinding, you can build stuff. So basically, what I'm saying is it's like a better DMO.
And we both of us will play that one day and
That's
like,
a
and record
wild
it.
promise.
Because Fraps is easy, right?
Okay.
It's like $20 and it works.
I think I already have it.
Yeah, I think everyone has.
Yeah.
I don't think maybe I have Fraps. I can't remember. Does it work on? Does Fraps work on Mac?
Not a clue. Probably should. PSSSSS. I swear my name being the same as Digimon is coincidence. When it was time to take a Chinese name during my studies, I told the professor I wanted a name that had to do with green, peace, and tranquility. He discussed name possibilities with his Chinese colleagues, and the one I have now is what he came back to me with. Digimon didn't factor into the process at all. Honest. That sounds exactly like something someone would say when they're not being honest. I don't know. What do you think?
I like Digimon.
Alrighty then.
I'm very tired.
PSSSSSS. Rest in peace, Koji Wada. You will be missed. I'll never forget the first time I heard your voice, and your music will be with me for the rest of my life, I'm sure. And we've already discussed paying a lot of money to go to a Digital Ghost concert. PSSSSSSS. I feel like I'm beating my head against a brick wall here, but I'll just keep going till the wall breaks. Why haven't I heard any new reviews read on the podcast? It literally takes 5 minutes to write a sentence about why you do or do not like the show. They installed iTunes just to leave one, and you can too. Or leave a review on one of the other crazy podcast consumption platforms you kids use these days. If you want this show to reach more listeners and to continue to thrive, please at least consider making this small gesture. And yeah, we appreciate it, both because it will make you feel better, and like you've done a great thing that day, and also because it gets us more exposure, and we always like just.
It makes me
seeing
happy
nice
as
things.
well.
Yeah. And I think this one's missing an S. This one's gone backwards. Is this the same amount of S's?
I don't know.
It appears to be.
It looks smaller.
PSSS, SSSS. That's the same number of S's. That's a huge mistake. Go take a look at poor Huanglongmon. Barely anyone even knows he exists, despite him being in the franchise since 2002. And we did. He's quite cool.
Yeah, I like him. Also, super strong. I mean, he better be. Now, I did a boo-boo and I didn't show you. I will show you DigiWorld. Did you know what the show The Decks?
No, I've never heard of it.
They do like Pokemon analysis and say this is what Pokemon would be the best for like if you use these items, and this is what they did April Fool's one year.
Hey there, Pokemon aficionados! It's us, the Pokemon, and welcome to this week's episode of
I've seen that guy before.
I think he's guests on J-Wits once.
He was on the Completionist once, I think.
And I'm Pokekels. This week on the decks, we're covering a Pokemon that is cute, loyal, and a little bit shy.
She's way too excited.
They have the Disney Channel thing still in the corner.
Yep, he's based off the Gakudashira, a kabuki puppet that turns from a beautiful maid into a horrible demon whenever you string. Yep, this powerful mighty spirit makes Matt to choose him as his starter Pokemon through the Diginews. Yep, this one's called Yellow Pokemon That Wear Pumpkins. Guess how many Pokemon there are? That one are yellow, two wear how many? One, Gabumon. Isn't that? I never realized there was so much to say about Gabumon. Yep, there is. Well, I don't have anything else to say, so let's move on to Battle Thread. There's some kind of MMO. Click around, kids. And that's it. Hope you love the deck. Yep, subscribe. And if you have something you'd like to write us on, even though you don't for sure what you're talking about, or you just want to write the name on down, no other commentary around it, leave that in the comments below. I'm Pokemaniac. And I'm Pokekels. Tune in tomorrow for a real episode.
There he is.
The Decks.
There he is, right there.
Hey there, Pokemon aficionados. It's us, the Pokemon.
So that was suggested by Ray of Truth.
That's fun. Thank you, Ray. Or Mr. Truth, whichever you prefer.
But yeah, I saw it a while. I saw it a while ago. It's from 2013 because I like Digimon and I like Pokemon, and I was watching their ones on Tyranitar, and then I saw that they did one on Gabumon. I was like, I like Digimon. I love Tyranitar. Since so long getting that shiny Larvitar, I'm better.
No, you could hate it after that.
I think I did. No,
And you hate Aerodactyl?
Aerodactyl took me like 3,000 eggs.
Yep.
And then it was perfect, so it was fine.
Wasted so much time.
I'm still trying to get a shiny Gibble though. One day.
Gibble.
One day.
Get a gibble.
If you want to contact us, you can email us at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter @TranslationMon. We're LostinTranslationmon.tumblr.com. We're Lost in Translationmon on Facebook. We have discussion thread on With the Will. We're Lost in Translationmon on YouTube, and I promise we'll start getting more videos up there soon, and maybe the board game video soon. We'll have a Reddit thread on the Digimon subreddit, which I will link in the SoundCloud or iTunes description. You can comment on this episode on SoundCloud, you can message us on SoundCloud, and you can make us, and also Wu Qinglong, happy by leaving us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or whatever podcast listening thing you're using. I like Christmas.
Too much, actually.
I'm surprised that the English dub hasn't updated the opening, like the opening credits, because Ken's still shown as the bad guy.
I didn't even notice, because again, I skipped through them.
Yeah, so considering in Adventure they update the credits even though the original hadn't. This time, even though the original has updated the credits to feature Ken as a chosen child, they haven't updated the opening credits, unless it's just in the DVD version, because I've noticed some inconsistencies with the DVD version and what you're watching.
Different budgets.
It's the same show.
Different budget.
Different budgets. Budgetmon. So the kids are destroying Dark Towers, which I guess we've started every episode for like 10 episodes with, so that's fine. There's a bunch of dumb children talking because they like adding that in the dub. And Yoli says, 2, 4, 6, 8, who do we appreciate? Us! And then they go, ha 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 ha, to laugh, because they don't actually laugh.
I'm really glad they appreciate themselves.
Ken is hiding something in his pocket, and he invites the children to a Christmas party that his mum's throwing.
Is that an invitation in your pocket, or are you just, happy to see us?
He's very shy. The Digimon want to come too. Iori has forgiven him. In the dub, he seems a lot more hesitant and like, oh, this was a bad idea. I shouldn't throw parties for them. And it seems a lot slower, and he seems much more hesitant. But he's also more talkative when he's he thinks more. There's more words.
Well, yeah, they just insert a lot of stuff, like when he's giving it to Iori, and he's thinking, oh no, Iori still hates me, he's not going to want to go, and Cody... Sorry, I'm really mixing it up.
Yeah, no, it is Cody.
And Iori's thinking...
But it is Cody.
Well, Ken's not going to invite me, he hates me that much. Like, none of that exchange happens, they're just kind of really awkward in Japanese.
I think it's fair that they added that part in the dub, because they haven't really confronted that issue again.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I think they want to close it off more clearly than just giving him the invitation. I think they just want to address it a bit before this, to say, oh, remember they were having an argument. So I can understand why they added it. It's fine.
Yeah, there's not a problem with it.
Yamato's band is practicing for a middle school concert, and one of his band members is late because he saw a cute girl. Because he's a teenager, and that's what those hot-blooded men want. They like cute girls. We see that TK's mum and Davis's dad are talking, and it's sort of like, sounds like a business matter, like he's helping her with a report because she's a journalist in the original. In the dub, it's like, they say, oh yes, TK's so forgetful, and he left his homework at Davis's when they were studying. I don't think they're close enough to study, as friends.
Why would TK be the one who forgot?
Yeah, that was because it's Davis's dad handing it to TK's mum.
Yes.
So they had to say what else is they handing. It can't be a business matter because she's a journalist. They have to make it homework related. But because the animation showed Davis's dad giving it to TK's mum, it had to be that way. But it just doesn't seem. It seems very out of character for TK to forget something.
I swear there's a line in the English when Spider Lady is like talking about the holidays and Christmas. How does she know what that is? Because we've had Digimon be like, what's in Japan? So how does she know what Christmas is?
I think it's hinted that she has been in the real world longer, and she's been around the block, so to speak. Like,
I know that she's been here for a while, but it's still like a really nuanced thing to kind of understand that takes several years to pick up. I'm just not sure they thought it through that well.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, but I think it's because she was being shown as a human, maybe. And then a man who's totally not creepy in the slightest, who's eating cake, and he goes up to Yamato's mum and asks her about the Odaiba fog. And in the dub, he's far more threatening, isn't he?
Absolutely.
Like, he's basically like, oh, I would be careful who my kid's being, like, hanging out with. I'm like, okay.
Wait, in the dub?
In the dub, he's much more he's more threatening, but he's creepier in the original, but he's much more threatening in the dub.
Yes. Because here's the thing that's important is that in the dub, she already knew who he was.
Yeah.
Whereas in the original, she didn't really. She had like a... I think
she'd seen him before.
No, she'd heard of him, maybe. But it sounded like in English that like they'd spoken before, and she's like, "Oh, Mr. Okawa, oh hi," and then then she wants to leave because he's creepy, but she knows who he is. Whereas in Japanese, he's like, "I'm Mr. whatever Okawa," and she's like, "Okay, I did the investigation on this." Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So
like they've met before, but she didn't quite remember yet.
No, they haven't met. She's just heard of him in
Right.
passing. You don't forget a face like that. You'd never forget a face like that.
So what do you think he's relevant, or do you think he's just another adult?
He's probably the guy giving Spider Lady and Mummymon orders. You don't introduce a weird character design like that in the season where Digimon can take human form and have that not be the bad guy.
Is he a Digimon too, or is he a
Absolutely.
human?
Of course he's a Digimon.
What kind of Digimon?
I don't know. He's whatever evil Digimon is leading them.
Right. Just curious what you would think he was. Just want to see if you were right or wrong, or just curious.
He really could be anything. You look at Mummymon in human form and you go, "What is that?" And you go, "Well, the last thing you'd ever guess is a mummy."
Well, he's in that jacket.
He's in like a blue army jacket.
Yeah. The new kids find the original partners, and they wrap Palmon like a present so she can be delivered to Mimi, and it's so cute.
It's really cute. And she looks so sad at multiple moments because she just doesn't get it because Palmon's a little bit dim.
I love her so much, I don't care. Also, Mimi has a Lilymon wreath in her room. It's so cute.
Also, I didn't really know that they could just go to Mimi whenever they wanted.
They just open the portal and put Palmon through.
I know, but they can just do that whenever. They've always kind of made it seem like it's really difficult to get Mimi here.
I think they can only open one portal at a time.
But what I mean is that if they ever need Mimi there, they go, "Oh, let's go get her."
Yeah, I think it may be difficult. I don't know. It's
It
plot
was super
convenience.
easy here.
It's plot convenience.
It was
It's
very plot
Christmas.
convenient.
You have to believe in the magic. Back in the real world, Sora is giving Yamato a present, and
Before his concert in a circus.
What?
His concert's in a big top.
It's
all
like
red and white.
Rod Laver Arena, isn't it?
No, it's like a big red white tent. It was like a circus.
Taichi comes up and notices that Sora has a present for Yamato. In the dub, Sora seems much more apologetic and a tiny bit I don't know, she seems like she's being caught doing something she shouldn't be doing, and Tai seems much more upset, and he says, "Hey Sora, want to hang out?" After she's clearly in the middle of doing something.
Well, he either doesn't know what she's doing initially when he says that, or he's pretending he doesn't know. He's like, "Yeah, dude, come hang out with me after." She's like, "No, I might be busy with Matt. Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, Matt, huh?" Cue everyone's hearts breaking,
including Jeff Nimoy's, especially Jeff Nimoy's.
He could just change it. He could have just changed it.
He said, "Oh, I was just going to give up these breakup cookies to Matt."
No, it could have just been like, "Oh, I want to give them this before the show." Oh, and then just have them go "Whoa," and just trip over a bit, and that was embarrassing. And then then they get out later and it's like, "Oh, hey, Sora," like, "Oh, hey, you want to go on that date later?" "Yeah, all right." It's voice acting. You can do whatever you want.
Taichi tells her to hurry up and give the present to Matt, and then he puts his hand on her and says, "Come on, come on, you've got to go." And basically, he gives up on her, and it's really heartbreaking. And then Agumon comments that he's grown up. But in the dub, Tai's like, "Yeah, I guess we'll talk later then." And he seems much more heartbroken.
Yeah.
He's still he's not going to throw a tanty, but he doesn't seem as okay with it. He still seems rather heartbroken in the dub.
So the Japanese he's totally gracious and understanding.
Mm-hmm.
She seems a little bit off, I guess, but by and large, she doesn't know she's meant to be talking about it. He's like, "No, go ahead, it's fine." And the other one, they're both really awkward. And I kind of got the sense that it was an issue of timing, where she had begun dating Matt and wasn't certain about Tai, then they found out whatever, and now it's just awkward. That was kind of the sense I got. I mean, obviously they've probably dated before with our war game.
Yeah.
But it's not clear. Obviously, there was a hairpin. It'd be really weird if they actually broke up over that, wouldn't it?
Well, they got
when
back,
they almost all got nuked.
They forgave each other at the end, and then
did they? I thought that he sent her an email and she went, "Ugh."
Well, okay. So I'm not sure if you watched the credits, but in the original, we see photos of what the children are doing directly after the events of the movie.
Yeah.
So Joe's just finished his tests. Mimi's on holidays. Izzy's just hanging out with Tai. They're all relieved. TK and Matt are chilling. And Sora's sent a photo. We see that Sora has replied to the email, and she says, "Thanks, Tai." And she attached a picture of her wearing the hairpin, and it's so cute. And she's smiling, and oh my god, it's so cute. I want to watch that movie again. That was really good.
I don't.
I love our war game. It's by far my favorite Digimon movie.
I'm alright with having seen it twice, maybe more.
My other favorite is the first Tamers movie, but it made me cry too much, so I didn't like it.
But it was a good movie. it made you feel emotions. It did what a movie's meant to do.
And I don't think my emotions were manipulated, but I guess we'll cover that when we do.
I guess we'll see.
That's convenient because it's the last thing that we cover before we go to Japan, which is kind of like in a semi-break between two arcs.
So, is the Tamers movie before Tamers? Is like a
No. It's the middle. 23 episodes in.
Okay.
There's only 2 movies for Tamers. There's one in the middle and one at the end.
Oh, great! More movies. Oh, that's excellent.
But this is Tamers.
I'm really looking forward to more movies.
Oh, cheer up! The last one's about trains.
I refuse to cheer up. You know what else was about trains? That Legend of Zelda game that was okay.
The last boss was so hard. I still haven't been. Can you please beat it for me?
Probably.
I'm up to the last part of the last boss, and I really want to finish the game because
I did the last boss of Phantom Hourglass. That was hard.
Spirit Tracks is really hard. Anyway, Yamato's playing his Season 2 character song, as opposed to his Season 1 character song, which we saw earlier in the season.
Well, in Japanese, he's actually playing, whereas in English, there's noise, and then the crowd's like, yeah, just cheering totally over it.
I turn around, I can see what's behind me. I turn back around. I think it may that they were trying to make a song about how he's trying to steal Sora away from Taichi. It can be interpreted that way as like,
what a scum.
Yeah. It's basically him saying, ha ha, I got the girl. Ha ha, Tai. Ha ha, crest of friendship. Ha ha.
I think I told you earlier, but like, well, their friendship is based on punching each other in the face, so it wouldn't be surprising.
When I was young, I was like, oh yeah, Sorato, because he's cool and she's cool. I like Yamato. But now I was like, wow, Taiora is so much better, I think.
Well, Matt's garbage. That's the end of it.
I think maybe you're just rubbing off on me and making me not like Yamato.
Well, we watched all of Adventure, and what did he ever do? Whine, complain, and punch Tai.
Have a Gabumon.
Yeah, but that's not make him cool.
Have a dog. TK's pretty cool.
Not a dog.
He's a wolf. A walrus. So, I'm hilarious in my notes. So, when he says, are you ready to rock? I can't hear you. Aye, aye, Captain. Who lives in the digital world with a dog?
That's enough of that. That's enough of that.
Oh.
So like, this is the line, sorry, from the Sora and Tai thing. I say, oh, I see, Matt, huh? And she goes, you're not mad at me, Tai. And then, like, at the end, he's like, well, I'll be waiting.
Oh yeah, that's the part. Yeah, it seems, yeah.
In English, he's a lot more like, well, when you're done with whatever that is, I'll be here.
Yeah, he seems like he's not quite giving up, but
But then she's like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, and like I think it's like it doesn't want to cut off the possibility of them being together. I think.
Yeah.
So it's still saying, oh no, they could. It's just a high school thing. They may, grow up and, end up, and it's still trying to say that. But in the original, it's just Taichi's basically giving up on her, just saying, he's got her. I don't want to get in between that.
Yeah. So we go to
No, but when the thing is, when Yamato's singing, Gabumon says that he's surprised that Yamato's such a good singer. In the dub, he says Matt's a really good singer, but I may be biased. So he's much nicer. Instead of just saying, I'm really surprised he can sing.
Well, like, he's a good singer, but I might be biased is also kind of be like, he's probably bad, but I like him.
Yeah.
But also, wouldn't he have been around all his practices? Why would he be surprised? Also, he was with him in the digital world for so long.
Yeah, but he's only ever played harmonica. I don't think Gabumon's actually ever been to his concert, because if you think about it, he started being in a band before Gabumon was back in the real world, and I think this may be his first trip to the real world.
Right.
We haven't seen him in the real world since the Vamdemon arc.
It's entirely possible. So we go to Ken's house where everyone's hanging out, and Yoli, like a goddamn savage, is like, "Oh, look at this wonderful picture of you," and he's like, "Oh, no, that's my brother." But of course, she doesn't know that because he always looked like that when he was the Digimon Emperor.
Meanwhile, while they're playing cards, interference sound starts playing, and it's Arukenimon setting up a dark tower, and then the poor guys that were working at the TV station during the Vamdemon attacks are there, and they're like saying, "Oh God, not this again." And in the dub, they just don't seem scared. They seem like more chill out. It's like, oh yeah, it's probably fake. There's some good makeup going on there.
But they've seen monsters before. Yeah.
So Dark Tyrannomon shows up with some Backemon. The older kids can't evolve. The older kids' partners can't evolve because Dark Tower. Also, Megadramon's there. He's the best Digimon ever. We see a Megadramon. Then we find out the new kids are meanwhile playing Cheat because I'm assuming Doubt is just Cheat.
Oh, also, yeah, doubt. Also,
they're playing Go Fish.
What does Spy Lady says? She's like, we're gonna give a whole new meaning to Monsters of Rock. It's like, did that have a huge meaning already? Anyway, yeah, they're playing Cheat. It's super cute, and then Ken laughs, and everyone can just. I'm like, wait a minute, and then everyone had the exact same reaction. Of like, wait, Ken just laughed.
It's really cute. Miyako says that he's cute when he's laughing, and Daisuke says, "What about me?" Because, you know, Daisuke is uncomfortable when we are not about him. In the dub, he's suggesting strip poker.
Nice.
But then Ken's mum walks in, so we just get, "How about strip pop?"
I just came back from my game of Russian roulette. Did you win? You don't know how Russian roulette works, do you?
Oh yes, jokes that flew over my head as a child.
That's the best Rugrats episode for that joke only.
Yeah.
And Ken's mom has a really cute moment where she's like, I believe in English, she goes, it's been many years since I've heard children's laughter in the house. And you go, oh, that's cute. In Japanese, she goes, so this is, like, something like, this is the first time I've heard children's laughter in the house.
I understand it'd be the first time, because if you think about it...
Her children were so crap that neither of them had friends.
Osamu didn't have friends because, arguably, he was the Digimon Emperor, and he had that personality.
Yeah.
And Ken didn't think he was worthy of having friends. So, it makes sense that they would have no laughing kids in that house.
When I think about that, the moment where, like, Davis was like, oh yeah, come over to my place. When Ken tells his mom that, imagine, like, she's had this child for, like, 12 years, and this is the first time that he's ever had a friend. Like, how freaked out would you be?
She was really happy, though.
Yeah, it was great.
So yeah, the kids show up and they destroy the Dark Tower. Then we get split-screen evolutions for Piyomon, Tentomon, Akakamon, and Gabumon. And by Akakamon I mean Gomamon. But not Greymon and Stingmon because they're special and they're important. And apparently Biyomon, Tentomon, Gomamon, and Gabumon aren't important anymore.
Of course they aren't.
I feel so sorry for these tech guys. The suture guy recommends suture. He's just like, hey guys, can I recommend some suture right now? And they say, please don't destroy Fuji TV again.
Well, yeah. Please don't destroy our building.
Yeah, they just look like, oh, please not again. But I don't think that the dub seems to recognise that these are the same people, because all these references are gone.
Oh.
And I think they could have been kept. I just don't think they said, oh, kids won't remember who these guys are.
From a different season.
I think it's a cute throwback.
And it's just a big digivolving schmoz and just fights. There's just a lot of that.
Jun remembers 3 years ago. And she's like, oh, this is just what happened, 3 years ago. In the dub, she just says some dumb line about how she knew Davis liked action, but this is something else. Why is Kari saying how Tai and Davis shouldn't be in the same room in the dub? Like, she just says, oh, and this is why Tai and Davis shouldn't be in the same room. Like, but they're winning. Kari, sweetheart, Sugar Plum Fairy, they're winning.
Line. I don't remember what the context was at all. It's just a terrible line.
I don't remember the context either, so I don't think there is any. The children send the Digimon home, thanks to Miyako.
I don't think they ever say these are real Digimon. They do in the next episode, but in this one they don't say it. They just assume
They definitely say it in the dub.
Yeah.
But I'm not actually sure they ever do in the original, because I don't remember reading it. But I'm glad that at least the dub puts the initiative in that they should say that these are real Digimon, and that's why they can't kill them. I guess they're assuming it's the same as the Hanumon, the 8mon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. But then, like, there are Dark Towers here, so it would stand to reason they could be Dark Tower Digimon.
Yeah, good point. But I think the Dark Tower was just there to make them not evolve. The kids are talking about how much Ken's changed, and Daisuke says, really? I don't think I'd noticed. And then Taichi says that he's hopeless, and, that's fine. Daisuke's dumb. In the dub, Dave's like, oh man, I forgot to get Kari under the mistletoe.
That's creepy, isn't it?
So instead of them having this character moment about, like, Ken changing so much, but Daisuke's pretty thick and didn't actually notice that, he went from the, evil Digimon Kaiser to fellow good chosen child who works as a team.
Well, he can't decide what he feels about it. Sometimes he's like, oh, he's my best friend, I want him to be it every time. And the other time he's like, why do you need to contact him? We don't need him.
Well, that's in the dub.
No, it's both.
Really?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
I think.
Taichi then asks Agumon to stay until New Year's, and kids are cute with their Digimon, and this is the part that we covered for the Christmas special.
Right, but no, it's only the Japanese that was like that, actually.
What do you mean?
It was the bit where Kari was trying to, like, oh, I'll contact Ken, but in English it's just like, I got an email.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right.
And it was like, don't look at your email. And she's like,
yeah, you're right.
Alright.
Yeah, that was in the original. You're
it's
right.
It's Japanese.
Yeah.
As I stare at the screen that isn't translated.
Yeah. So this is the part where it's Kari's little bedtime story.
Also, Kari has a Plotmon, which is really weird.
Yeah?
Why isn't it Gatomon? It's always Gatomon.
Plotmon's cuter.
Yeah, but like it's so weird.
Well, because I was going to say, it's because they're back in the real world, but she's always gone to Tailmon, so... And she wasn't like, she didn't evolve to Angelomon.
And like, you could pretend like, well, like, it's a dog, and dog is more secret. But like, it's been a cat before, and everyone's fine with that.
Yeah, because it's not like there was a battle, but she's evolved to Nefertimon before and was able to go back to Tailmon. I like Plotmon. It's for the plot. We then find out that Dark Towers are showing around the world, and then there's a joke in the dub about how it's like Father Christmas goes around the world. Because it's a Christmas episode, even though it's not actually on Christmas Day, it's Christmas Eve. The next episode's on Christmas Day, but Christmas isn't mentioned on the Christmas Day episode, just the Christmas Eve episode.
Aren't all Christmas things about Christmas Eve? Because Christmas is when everything's solved, right?
But the next episode is Christmas Day.
All Christmas shows are about Eve.
I like Christmas. What do you think of this episode as someone who's new to Digimon?
It was fine. Like, it had really good elements of it, which is mostly like Ken's development and like him, branching out and just directly trying to make friends. It's not, someone else has invited him to stuff. It's not him being weird and guilty about things. It's just straight up, it's really nice. And then there's a whole middle section, which is just fighting, which is totally pointless and to fill time. And that was fairly boring and hard to pay attention to, especially since I had to do it twice. But like, there's a lot of really, really good character moments here, and I think they've done a really good job of mixing around characters and getting you to sort of look at them a bit closer, which they should have done from episode 1.
Right. And how did this compare to what you thought in Obnoxious Synopsis?
It's rough. I had almost nothing to go on, so I said it'd be a feel-good episode, and it was to
except for the Taiora part.
I really thought that basically the Christmas party thing would be the whole episode. That was what I imagined. It would just be hanging out with families and stuff, and we focused on the kids. But it wasn't. I was really, really wrong at this.
Let's focus on all the kids sort of evenly.
No star. Oh, there'd be no particular star. I guess Ken would be the Ken would be the focus, and then obviously Davis as always. And that's to be 8 out of 10. That's not true. It was a 7, but it's still good.
I gave it a 7 as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I give 7s to basically every episode, so I'm not sure how much that says.
You've given 9s before to episodes that totally didn't deserve it.
No, I think there's one where like, I think this might be one where I gave it a 7 and you gave it a 9, maybe. Maybe. I know there's one that you rated higher. No, it was the Edo episode. I give like a 5 or something.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, that's a 7.
You hated it, but it was fine, because you were wrong.
What differences did you notice, and do you think they were justified?
So, let's talk about the most important primary difference, which is the treatment of Tai and Sora.
Yeah.
Again, because we did talk about it already, but it's very, very clear that, and you mentioned in passing that Jeff Nimoy, the writer of the show, did not like the way the Japanese had taken it. In that
he wants Tai and Sora to be together. Yeah. Basically.
So it is clear that he took some liberties, and while keeping to the spirit of what originally happened, in the essence of the scene, he also left doors open. And I thought it was a more emotionally engaging scene. I think Tai being straight up gracious and being like, "Yep, that's that," and just sort of like wiping his hands, and maybe not being the happiest about.
Still emotional. Yeah. You could the animation was pretty decent to show that he was having an emotion. Yeah,
but while he was like clearly affected by and large, he handled it much better.
Yeah.
He was kind and nice about it in English.
Considering he's 14, he handled it pretty well.
Yeah. Well, like he managed to be kind and nice in English as well, but it was a lot more complicated stuff going on. And I just think that the Japanese one was less dynamic and interesting, I guess. Also, I hate Matt, so any possibility that he suffers later is always good in my book.
So I guess that shows that Jeff Nimoy does like them, because he actually gave them a slightly better scene.
So So this begs a question that plagues all of Digimon forever, which is, if the writer can look at this scene and say, "I don't like it, I want to change it," but then keeps the core element, even though he doesn't like the core element, and makes it better, why is it that he looks at all this other stuff and either changes it to make it worse, or keeps the same thing but adds all these lines that make it worse? How come he destroys so many things, but this went well?
Maybe it's the other writers, because I don't think he's the sole writer. I just think he's the head writer.
Okay, that's entirely possible. Why do you need a head writer for a show that already is written?
Maybe translators? Sometimes it might just be translators. Tai narrates this episode, like the last
weird.
episode. And, hey guys, it's Tai. Long time no see. Hey, Tai.
Hi.
I don't think one of the original, besides Hikari and Takadu, obviously, have narrated a previous episode. right?
It's been surprising for sure. So we got, who was it? I think it was Yori watching the news. Is the opening?
Daisuke, I think, because his sister comes out and yells at the TV. Right?
I guess so. And we just go watch it, and apparently the Black Towers were originally thought to be a marketing scheme for a quote .com company.
Oh, that was from the dub, right?
That was really like that dates us so hard as being like during the .com boom.
It's like when you're watching
Bubble.
the WWF from like the early 2000s, and they all have websites, and now they all have their Twitter's handles.
So just on that topic, actually, because I wanted to tell people today, but I didn't because no one would care. I started reading Mick Foley's autobiography, and he starts saying, "Oh yeah, when I was working for World Wrestling Entertainment back then," or and I'm like, well, that's a weird thing to say, but maybe but the book came out 2004ish when that happened, and then he goes, "Oh yeah, back in the 80s, I had this video, and I was really into wrestling, so I had a tinfoil WWE belt." I'm like, you wouldn't have had that. That's not true. And he goes, well, they're doing WWE shows around here. And I realized they had search replaced every instance of WWF and turned it WWE, and every instance of World Wrestling Federation to entertainment.
Oh.
Because, instances where he should have said Federation, because that was what it was at the time, were gone. Things that were just, facts. If you looked at the video that he was talking about, and he said, it said WWE on it. That's what he said.
Yeah.
It couldn't physically have possibly said that.
That's strange that they did that. I mean, I guess it's understandable.
Yeah.
Didn't someone, sign WWF in the air or something?
It was WCW.
Oh, yeah, yep.
That was Bret Hart. Okay, so we already talked about wrestling enough at the end of our last thing. But
this is not a wrestling podcast. That is one day.
I wanted to talk about retconning a book.
That's clever. Anyway, so Digimon appearing around the world where Dark Towers are, and we see a bunch of places in Japan, including Himeji Castle, where the ninjas are in James Bond.
Yes. Also, Ryu fights on the roof of it.
We have to go there, right? I mean, I've been there twice, but I want to go there again because I really like that. I really like James Bond.
I'm so desperate to. I like Street Fighter. I think he fights.
We can fight on the roof. I'm sure they'll let us up there, right?
I think he fights Akuma on the roof. It's pretty cool.
I'm just remembering that Maximilian video. Oh yeah, that's how that matchup usually goes. I like how we just said that deadpan. Anyway, Digimans. Kids are running off to Koshiro's house. Daisuke says that there are Digimon where Ken lives, in Tamachi, and he needs to go there, and Taichi disagrees with him.
He has so little faith in Ken. This is another situation of he's best friends with Ken, and he's great, and then other times he hates him. The line is, he's probably begging for my help right now.
That's fair enough, because if there's a Dark Tower there, Wormmon can't evolve, and Wormmon doesn't have an armor form. Yeah,
but it's such a weird thing to say. It's not, he needs my help. He's probably begging for my help right now.
Yeah.
It sounds mean.
Well, at least he's trying to help, right?
Also, Tai doesn't have a nose.
I did not notice that.
Tai doesn't have a nose, and I believe Tailmon looks really weird. Because we know how big Tailmon is, right?
Yeah.
Tailmon's is like half of Kari's size, all up.
Yep.
So she's bigger than Kari's torso because of the art style. And in this picture, she's shrunk all the way down to be altogether smaller than her torso as well. So it's at 3 minutes.
Right, I'll check that after the podcast.
I'll give you 3 minutes.
In the dub, Kari seems to be really against Davis going. She says, "Oh, come on, but Davis."
Yeah, it's weird.
Even though in the original she seems to, come along and basically say, "Oh, Tai, come on."
Yeah.
Come on.
Which is weird. Why would she want him there? He's always being super creepy.
Yeah. Well, only in the dub.
Yeah, I guess he's
over it in the original. I actually think that he's over the crush on Hikari now.
Sure.
They haven't brought it up for since the XV1 episode. That was episode 20-something. A Jedi is sitting with Chinglonmon, and he gives him something, and there's no dialogue in the original.
Yeah, but in the English, he talks about how digivitamins kept him young.
Yep. So, and this is Chinglonmon basically saying, "Oh, this is one of my digicores, have it and it'll give the chosen powers." So he explains what's happening.
But it doesn't need to, because it gets explained in 5 minutes.
It gets doubly explained. But the kids need to know now.
Well, what's a digicore?
It's just one of the things that Chinglonmon has around him.
What's a digicore?
Bit of energy.
Okay, because it makes it sound like it's a thing. When the Holy Stones were mentioned, and you're like, "What's that?" And they're like, "It's a Destiny Stone." You're like, "But what's that?" "It's a stone, but of destiny." And it's this is a digicore. It's a core of Digi, I guess.
They're just basically part of Chinglonmon.
Is it used now at the end of the episode, or can he just give it back?
He's used it now, I think.
Okay, so he really has only 11 left for the rest of his life.
I think so.
No. Alright, well, that's sick.
It's a bit OP.
Well,
honestly bit OP.
if only he'd used any of them before getting imprisoned by the Dark Masters, right?
Maybe he never thought of it. Maybe it wasn't relevant then. I don't know. I don't know a lot of things.
For a god, he's really stupid.
Other chosen children from around the world are contacting Koshiro, and the
Over
other
200 of them.
yeah, and the other original children are told to get in touch with these children, these new chosen children. In the dub, they're told to find out who has digivices out of the chosen children, so presumably all of them.
All chosen children should have them.
Yeah.
Also, Yoli says, there are other chosen children?
But she's met Michael.
Yeah. And in fact, in Japanese, they mention both Michael and the Omegamon incident, but Yoli is dumbfounded. She's like, I can't believe there are other chosen children around the world. I would never have guessed. So I'm like, I met several of them.
I think she's met...
And Willis.
Willis doesn't exist. In that part, I believe that they're having a character act like what the viewer is. Like, because the viewer might say, oh, I didn't know there were others. And they say, no, we've met others before. Because as a kid, you might have forgotten about Michael, because that was a long time ago. So she's meant to be the viewer, so they have a chance to explain that they're not the only ones. So it's just a way of explaining.
Yeah, but it makes her look really stupid.
Yeah, which is weird. Like, she shouldn't be the stupid one, right?
She shouldn't be.
Why isn't it Davis?
It should be Davis.
It should
also,
100% be Davis.
Whose line is this? I've written it down. It's maybe they should form some sort of union.
I think it's Davis.
It's so stupid.
So Joe's told to order sandwiches while the others are told to find out who has a digivice.
Wait, let's put this into perspective. Matt is organizing the continent of Africa, whereas Joe is ordering sandwiches.
Yeah.
I really feel like Joe should be given more responsibility in this. He's very reliable.
Yeah, and also, I think he'd be the smartest, like...
Besides Izzy.
Besides Izzy.
Also, actually, you know what that said? Given his test results later that we've seen, he's actually not that smart.
Meh, maybe.
He's a dork, not a nerd, or however it goes.
Then Triceramon shows up in Tamachi. I love Triceramon.
And he's like, I've got the hardest shell of all Digimon.
Except he doesn't talk in the original.
Also, he doesn't have Chrome Digizoid, so how can he possibly have the hardest shell?
It's a double lie. They've forgotten a Chrome Digizoid
It's
exists.
not a double lie. In the Japanese, it says his shell can deflect any attack.
Oh, maybe he is he Chrome Digizoid?
It never says Chrome Digizoid. But they specify in both. So I understand where they interpreted that out of there in English, which is he can deflect any attack. So it's like, oh, I'm the strongest. But when it says he's the strongest, that's such a weird thing to say.
Yeah, because Chrome Digizoid's the strongest, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't seem to be something that Triceramon has.
Yeah, of course it isn't, because it would have said, right? Anyway, so
oh man, that's upsetting.
I only realized at this point I'm really, really enjoying how everyone's wearing a different outfit for once.
But everybody's seen them wear the winter outfits.
Yeah, I know, but now I'm really noticing
and we saw them wear the spring outfits, and I said how I liked Hikari's because it was like a little scarf and a little shirt. That was cute. I do like how they're given more than just the one outfit. Like, remember when they went home, they still wore this. They didn't get changed into new clothes. Like, it's almost understandable. Okay, you only have one set of clothes when you're sucked off to the digital world. But then they went home for at least 3 days, right? And they just didn't change.
It's a classic Bart Simpson. Like, oh, do I wear the blue shorts or the blue shorts, or the orange shirt and the orange shirt? And
I mean, obviously, Mimi we saw get a few costume changes in the
and
first
hair
season.
changes.
In the first season,
some of them really terrible.
Yeah, like the puffy hair from the start of 02, and they were saying, "Oh, Mimi's in America now."
The pink flowing hair with stars in it.
That's my favorite.
Really, why?
I think
it's so silly.
I do like her hair in Try though.
It's such that's one of the stars is such like a 14-year-old girl thing.
Yeah, because guess what? Guess how old she is.
Yeah, I know that, but it's all it is. It's cringeworthy.
Because she's basically she lives in America, and that's what they think Westerners do. They dye their hair and put stars in them.
Yeah.
So I think it's an interpretation of what Americans do.
So
as viewed by Japanese people. Also
those
Willis.
are always the funniest.
Also Michael. He plays water polo in the dub, I'm pretty sure.
Can you quickly... the Japanese interpretation of other cultures is sometimes the funniest thing ever. Can you look up the fighters from Punch-Out? Just the fight-out punches. There's Soda Popinski. I believe one of them's name is... Is that the original?
Soda Popinski.
There's Soda Popinski, and there's look up. Can you go back? Down here. There's all of them.
Yep.
Oh no, this is the original game. Okay, I need the There's someone whose first name is Pasta because he's from Italy.
I like Don Flamenco.
Searching.
Pizza Pasta. Aaron Pasta.
His name is Pizza Pasta. Oh my god, it's so racist.
Jeez, okay. I've never played Punch-Out before. Now I think I might have to.
And there might be another dude whose name is Vodka.
Vodka.
Aaron Ryan or Aryan, because he's... Oh, no. Soda Popinski is Vodka, apparently. Soda Popinski. What was I thinking?
No, he said it's redirected from Vodka.
Is it because he has vodka in his thing, or that was... No, his original name was Vodka Drunkensky.
Jeez, alright.
Oh, yeah, their interpretation of other cultures is a bit much.
Yeah.
Alright.
Ken is in danger on Wormmon can't evolve because of the Dark Tower. Orokenimon and Mummymon are straight up taunting him. The strange man we saw earlier in the last episode is watching them. Raidramon shows up and destroys the Dark Tower. They don't split screen evolution, which is weird because I think they should.
They do a nice long one for each of them.
Yeah, which is strange because I guess they just really need it. Since it's a good episode, but these are the only evolutions we see in this episode. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, well, besides the two coming up.
Then they Jogress. Triceramon pushes him into a building. Mummymon notices that the others aren't coming, so they should use this time to destroy him, which is a really good idea.
You know what's... Well, here's the thing about that.
Would have worked.
Well, the two things. First of all, the problem with Jogress is always, if you see the two champions together, they're going to Jogress. There's no surprise
Definitely.
in that.
Yeah, now they are, yeah.
Second,
unless they're destroying Dark Tower.
Here's the deal with Mummymon that confuses me here. He says to himself, in this instance, okay, Peldramon's kind of distracted. I'm gonna go kill him.
Yeah.
Right? That tells you that if he's not necessarily as strong as Peldramon, he's like 90% as strong as him.
Yeah.
He's probably really strong. How come when they beat the kids and all of the Digimon were tiny babies wrapped up in bandages...
They ran off to get food because they were really hungry.
No. There's actually the time before that when you saw Mummymon for the first time. Like, they all de-evolved because he wrapped them all up.
I know, but I think it may be because Orokenimon was so injured.
But whatever. Get hurt. They're not reaching you. They're all dead.
Yeah, good point.
He's had 2 opportunities to kill these babies on the floor. And you can be like, oh, he's super weak and can't do it. But he's clearly quite strong.
Yeah. Mummymon says that he's doing this to show Orokenimon his love for her. Because the dub has to put them that he's creepy and in love with her. The music of Beat It stops when he starts attacking, which I always appreciate.
Yeah, I like when they play around with the music like that.
Koshiro notices that they have to go around the world to open the digital gates since the new kids don't have D3s.
Why wouldn't they have D3s?
Since the new kids have D3s, but the international Digidestin don't.
What I mean is, like, why wouldn't... Oh, because all the international ones are from, like, years ago.
Yeah, because the D3s were created so they could fight Ken.
That's so silly.
Because they knew that Ken could go in and out of the digital world, so the D3s were created to mimic that D3.
Right.
So they could fight him. And so they could use Armor Evolution.
But, I mean, you can just transform them. Shinlongmon said, like, oh, I just transformed them. So he could just transform all of them, really.
I think it also might take a bit of power.
Yeah, I know, but he's got all these Digicores to spare. He's got 11 more.
Yeah. Koshiro then starts talking to his computer, and then tells the others to stand back. I don't remember this part being as obvious in the dub that he was talking to his computer, so I'm not sure what the dub did. Because it seems a bit subtler. He turns the computer's monitor to face his laptop, and then a Jedi shows up. Turns out to be Gennai, but hot now.
You mean Obi-Wan Kenobi?
That's funny. In the dub, he is voiced by the same VA as Tentomon, Jeff Nimoy.
Oh, he's a voice actor too.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's been Tentomon all this time, and he's Jeff Nimoy.
Indubitably, I'm the writer of the show.
So yeah, he's Jeff Nimoy.
My wonderful talents to get characters from here to there. I sensed a pond in that direction. Never letting that go. Why does he have the power to sense bodies of water?
Oh man, I remember that. As always, I'm right.
Oh my god.
Yoli hits on him in the dub because he's hot.
Really heavily, but also she's like 11.
Yeah.
Imagine.
And he's probably like, what, 20, right? In his 20s?
I mean, he's actually like 80.
Yeah, I know, but like, he looks like he's maybe 30. He looks about the dad's age.
This was always the Twilight question of like, is it creepy that he's actually 100?
But
if he's in a 17-year-old's body.
I'm pretty sure in the original he's voiced by Hot Dad, who is Leomon's voice actor, and also Matt's dad.
We can probably presume he's about 30, to be fair. But either way, imagine any listener that we've got who's over 18.
Yeah.
Okay? And which I believe is almost everyone.
Even 11 or I'd be like, no thank you, child.
So, imagine you're walking down the street one day, or you've walked into a friend's house, whatever, and an 11-year-old comes up and goes, "You're so hot. Can I date you?" And it's like, that's weird.
Yeah,
that's
no
so
thank you.
weird.
No thank you.
They're 11.
Yep.
They haven't lost all their baby teeth yet.
Oh, wait. How old were you when you lost your baby teeth?
I don't remember. It's probably actually 8 or 9.
Because I had lost them all by then because then I got braces.
I don't remember. I was kind of making a guess.
Yeah. Gennai shows that he has one of Qinglongmon's digicores, so now we get the explanation that the dub already gave, and he tells the children to use their digivices on this. Tailmon and Patamon say that they feel warm, but in the dub...
I feel kind of fuzzy. You are fuzzy. Hey, I feel it too.
Because she's a cat.
Yep, surprise. Also, he's a jelly bean.
We get Digivolution without the effects, which is really weird looking.
It's so weird.
Because they spin around.
They spin without moving. So, which I think is really funny when you have to think back to our war game, when they're evolving and get interrupted. It's like Greymon like spinning around slowly and, and then being bopped on the head.
Slightly, yeah. So we've got to remember, this is probably what they always see when they evolve. That's why they're not like too weirded out by the fact that they look like that.
But Yoli's like surprised.
She's surprised because
she seems surprised to have seen them evolve and like, whoa, what was that? But she sees it all the time.
Yeah, but the dub says she's surprised because she's never seen them evolve in the real world, which is a lie.
And also, like,
Maybe last episode.
Also, Davis and Ken don't have the reaction of surprise, so none of them should. And then a blue light comes out of the sky. No lighthouse, sadly. And Peldramon goes into it, and I was surprised. There's a bit of swearing and yelling on my notes here. And, Imperial Dramon shows up. Very WereGarurumon into Metal Garurumon of, like, standing up anthropomorphic dude-like thing into, like, crouched over, very animalistic.
His mouth doesn't move and it really upsets me because I feel like his mouth should be
Wait,
something that moves
does it never
a lot.
move?
It just goes like this. I am Imperial Dramon! Ah! I have a mouth but I can't scream.
Yeah, I think he's psychic. No, if you have a mouth, you can definitely scream.
I have what appears to be a mouth, but I don't have a mouth. I cannot scream. I have no mouth, and I must scream.
The news reports that...
Don't believe it. One of the strange monsters had a strange light hit him in a strange way, which changed him into another strange monster. This is all really strange.
I got that too. It's so different for how serious he is in the original. He's like very serious. He's like, yeah, this must be the end of the days. This is a monster, and he just got bigger. I don't know what's happening.
It sounds so dire. The Japanese news, they're like, "Oh, it's a kaiju! Oh my god!" And they're going to it like in the other one's like, "These monsters are everywhere."
How wacky!
We'll be back with that after sport.
Over to you, Johnny. Because you can't have a serious moment in the dub.
So Imperial Dramon's his Digimon analyzer in English removes all tension that has ever existed, where the quote is that he is stronger than any other Digimon. He's the strongest one.
I don't like that.
That's it.
Was that in English?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
He's
so that's a lie.
the strongest one. There is none stronger.
See, I was too busy being upset by the way his voice kept on changing to like, my name is Imperial Dramon! It feels like it was edited in, like he said the wrong line. It's like, oh wait, no, I have to redo that.
There's a line that I think Gennai says where I don't have it. It's so great where he like begins the line, then like he gets almost to the end of a sentence, like one word away, and it just stops.
Yeah.
Pauses for a second, then says the last word.
Yeah, the dub is very much like, because I think it's trying to make the mouth move with the voices.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like I'm talking about something, and now I'm continuing talking about something. It's in the same sentence.
I didn't know you could. Oh no, and the
Did you like the music for the evolution, by the way?
I don't remember.
It was Target. It was the opening to the show.
I just don't remember it.
And then the big dragon shows up. It's like the little dragon that whirls around because it's Qinglongmon, and it's really cute. I like Digimon.
I know you do.
Yay.
Like they just get explained randomly to Gatomon. Oh, by the way, you can become an ultimate now if you want.
And that means you can let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
Because you're not becoming a cat anymore.
So
you're
like the Digicores are just like solidified crest energy, I guess.
Yep.
Can they be ultimates forever now, or is it just temporary?
I don't know.
Well,
maybe we find out.
It's great to know the rules of the show.
Maybe we find out. Maybe we don't. Also, I noticed because sometimes I like looking at what happened in adventure around this episode mark. So WarGreymon and Metal Garurumon first showed up at the end of episode 38 and the start of episode 39.
That's about right.
It's almost level. It's saying this is your first ultimate.
It's the story beats.
Yeah, so it's trying to... Which is strange because the first start was very fast, and I feel like it's caught up with itself. Because I guess the Crest arc maybe was... I don't know. Because I've had a few arcs, but they finally caught up. Because Because I guess they'd have more evolutions, maybe.
So Gennai explains that he deleted all information on Digimon from every computer in the world.
Yep.
That's a bit of a task.
Yep, and that's how they don't know what Digimon are. That's why I
No,
forgot.
but everyone still remembers. And he's like, yeah, everyone saw it, but I just deleted all the digital files.
Yeah.
But I've been waiting for this for a long time, which is the explanation of why no one knows what Digimon are. And the answer is there is no explanation. Because everyone remembers, and some of them are like, oh yeah, that thing 3 years ago. And other people are like, what are those?
I think it's...
He specifically says, well, everyone was looking up in the sky at Apocalypse, which was like a thing we were wondering about, whether everyone saw the final battle.
Yeah, they saw the whole thing. Now we know.
So, it's confirmed. How is Tai not a national hero?
Good point. Maybe they couldn't see the kids.
No, but they just said they saw them.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. It helps with the script.
They confirmed the plot hole of all the Digimon kids, all the chosen children should be famous.
Yeah, especially Mimi, because she's the best.
I'm surprised there isn't like a season where like all the Digimon, all the chosen children are idols.
Yep, and focused on by the paparazzi.
Idol monster.
Daisuke and Ken are absorbed into the new Digimon sphincter, and then they shoot lasers from space at all the Dark Towers. Are you telling me that's not what happened?
It's into its spine.
Sphincter.
No, it's like a hunchback, like lump.
See a
A
sphincter.
sphincter's up its butt. That'd be below its tail.
You know where Impeldramon's sphincter is. It could be on it. There could be a hunchback.
I mean,
Impeldramon.
like the butt sphincter should be under the tail, generally. Also, there's Evangelion.
Also, I'm just going to point out that they seem to have the Concorde.
Who?
The Concorde.
I mean, like the plane. I know that,
Yeah.
but who has the Concorde?
Impeldramon is the Concorde. I don't know why
Yeah.
I wrote that down. It's a Concorde.
Because he can
I've been-
move faster than the blink of an eye.
I've been thinking a lot about supersonic planes at the moment for some reason. I don't know why.
You've been thinking a lot about the Concorde. Okay.
And also, no, there's another one. It's
And that
like a...
sick ass accident it had.
Did it? Oh, that sounds very
That's why they
bad.
stopped it. It was
Oh.
a big accident.
Okay, I need to read about that. I love reading about air disasters. Even though I don't like reading about air disasters, I like reading about air disasters.
Also, what is with Gennai? He's like, yeah, I didn't want people going to the digital world as a vacation.
Yeah, that was silly. I think he means like he doesn't want them to use the digital world for evil.
But his motivation is very clearly described. I don't want Digimon to be serving frou-frou drinks. English.
Yeah, I thought so.
But
I
he's
think I must have missed that part. 'cause that's
he's
silly.
very specific. I don't want it to be a vacation spot. And then the answer is even most chosen children can't go to the digital world unless they're summoned there.
Yeah.
Only people with D3s can do it. And D3s are a holy object, so science can't like make new ones.
No, people with digivices can go to the digital world, but a gate has to be open.
But no gates are randomly
so
open.
Mimi got in through a randomly open
Okay.
gate that just showed up, and because Koshiro said, "Oh, Mimi, your gate's open."
But you couldn't get in there without one.
No, you need to
And you
open
can't make one.
You need to open the gate with a D3, but gates do open, but they still need to be you still need a digivice to go in.
Wouldn't Gennai's task be more accurately solved if he just locked every digital gate and then just said you need a digivice to open them?
That's a good point. Why did Gennai do that? Gennai!
Instead,
step
he
up your game,
deleted
man.
all information about all Digimon from every computer in the world.
Gennai needs to step up his game.
Well, he needs to step down his game,
Then
really.
Gennai tells the children to go on holidays, basically.
Ugh.
We find out that Impeldramon takes around 30 minutes to fly around the world, so okay, that's fast. In the dub, Davis says he wants to watch an in-flight movie next time, and Gennai then says he won't have the time to watch one because Impeldramon can go anywhere in the blink of an eye.
Also, like their parents come and say goodbye, or like Izzy's.
Yeah,
Izzy or Rory?
it's Izzy.
Izzy goes says hi, goodbye, and hands him a box. And in English, I couldn't believe it. They said, "I made you rice balls."
I thought they said rice bubbles.
They said balls.
I know, I had to rewind it to
No,
go rice
what
balls.
I mean is, I can't believe it. They actually called them rice balls.
Yeah, I know.
They
I was
always say donuts, or they
that's
say
it's brownies.
brownies.
Because my brain heard rice bubbles, so I was like, no, they didn't. They did not. They didn't, obviously, because
Yeah.
I rewound it and then I realised she said rice balls, but I was so surprised to hear rice balls. I thought rice bubbles was a more accurate response.
The weirdest part about that is it's in this green box and you can't see what's inside.
They could have said fat brownies.
They could have made up anything.
Sandwiches.
And it's not. It would have been less offensive than the other times they did it because you're like, okay, it's a box. It could be anything.
Yeah, it's not like, look at
my box.
you
My
get
box is
pizza
amazing.
while you get Oh, whatever these things are that I'm holding.
No, you get pizza and you get the crusts.
No, thank you. In the dub, they make this moment like a tiny bit sweeter because Izzy says, "I love you, Mum."
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, I like Izzy's mum.
Because remember when he said that for like the first time, despite them living with him for 11 years?
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh my god, our son loves us."
Koshiro looks really tiny here.
He is really tiny.
I know, but he looks much smaller and he looks a lot younger.
Yeah, well, his mom's there.
Yamato's dad is concerned because he's always concerned.
Yeah, and the cameraman's like, "I want to get this as the shot of the century, but it's all blurry. I'm from New York."
Arukenimon's phone rings, and I'm pretty sure it's like the Undertaker's theme.
It's not, but like in the Japanese, she has like this really cute ringtone.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
It's still evil,
why
though.
does the...
No, but it's like that. It's like the funeral march.
No, I don't. If it was really fast, and I didn't really
Yeah,
notice.
it is.
But like, I don't know. It just weirds me out that the bad guy, like the evil person, has spent time like funkifying their phone.
It's a nice
And this
touch.
is 2002. What you had to do back then
Yeah.
was press the numbers to get the tones right, and she's like
Yeah.
looking it up online, be like, okay.
I
So
had the
2, 1, 3,
OC
4.
theme on mine.
Just-
But yeah.
I think my sister had Funky Town. Get into Imperial Dramon, and he flies off, and they make plane jokes.
Yeah. In the dub, her ringtone's just a normal ringtone. It's like a normal phone making a noise.
Boop, dip, bip, boop, bip, boop, boop, dip, bip, bip, boop.
What do you think of this episode as someone who is new to Digimon?
I really, really like this episode, and I finally realized why I like these ones. Sometimes they go to the real world and I don't like it, and I'm like, so I can't just say, oh, I like when they go to the real world. And I realized what I really like is when they kind of explore something, and so basically Digimon's super weird, right? Digimon's a weird concept of these strange monsters that are digital, and it kind of makes no sense. And what I really like is when a writer sits down and says, okay, I'm going to write an episode. And what he's going to do with this episode is he's going to ask a question. And that question is, wouldn't it be really weird if we did this? Right?
Yep.
And that's really interesting because you go, okay, we're exploring something. What happens when you mix the Digimon this way and that way? Well, Digimon in the real world, so these people will react like this, and what are you going to do? And that's really cool because stuff happens and people progress. What I don't like, and what I get really bored with, is when an episode's like, look, they're Digimon doing Digimon stuff.
It's the Digimon show.
Like, no, I mean, it is a Digimon show. What I mean is, like, the episode where Davis is being chased around by a turtle. It's, look at this Digimon that wants to pee. Look at this Digimon evolving. Wasn't that exciting? And the answer is, of course it wasn't. That's not interesting. Whereas playing games is really interesting because they go, wouldn't it be weird if we had a Digimon that, like, interacted one-on-one with a kid, and, like, the boss fight wasn't a fight so much as it was, like, a dealing between these two? And I thought that was really cool, and it was the best one. And there's so much stuff that's great about that. And you guys, it's how do we play with this formula, and how do we use the tools here to make an interesting story, not how do we just stare at the tools we already have and be like, haha, they're funny.
I guess there's no point talking about Obnoxious Synopsis.
None at all. You could hear how, like there's nothing to say. But what about, there's nothing to say. But how about, there's nothing to say? You took out all the helpful information.
Yeah, like, because I wanted to be surprised that there was an evolution.
To be entirely fair, retroactively, I'm pretty sure I would have thought Imperial Dramon was the bad guy.
But it sounds like Pale Dramon.
Yeah, but there's a lot of Draymons, to be fair.
Good point. What rating?
Metal C Draymon.
What rating did you give it anyway?
This is excellent. I want to give it a 9.
Gee, I was going to give it an 8, but I guess I'll
I'm giving it an 8 because Gennai being young it wasn't explained.
I gave it an 8 because I like evolutions and I like Gennai. See, look, I said Gennai that time.
Yeah, good job.
What differences did you notice? Did you think they were justified?
Okay, so there were quite a few, and we watched the English first this week.
Well, you watched the English first.
Okay,
because I was trying to hide the spoiler title from you.
And it worked actually. I was taken by surprise. Just Pale Dramon took me by surprise, and this one took me by surprise, and I like that. So in the Japanese, they make the whole monsters appearing thing a lot scarier, and I think they took everything a lot more seriously, which lent a lot to the situation. The fact that like monsters show up in the real world, and everyone in English is like, haha, it's really weird. This monster's hurt. We're all gonna die, but that's really funny. Weirds me out a bit. Let's see. In Japanese, they mention Michael and Omegamon. They have a much more clear sense of history because, I mean, they're the original writers of the show. They don't need to mess anything up. When they're doing the thing where all the original kids are sitting at computers, they're not doing the, you're talking to Europe, you're talking to Africa, you're ordering sandwiches. It's just silence because they're just busy. They never mention Australia, though. No one's...
In the dub, he says Sydney.
Oh, it did. Oh, you must have. All right.
No, they say the Australian Ocean.
When they're all at the computers?
They say in the
You
original...
handle the Australian Ocean?
Yes, they say the Australian... No, I think the TV presenter, when he's talking about Digimon around the world...
No, I'm talking specifically about when Izzy is saying, you do this, you do this, you do this. They're like, you do Europe, you do Africa, you order sandwiches, no one's doing Australia.
Joe was ordering sandwiches instead of doing Australia. I'm pretty sure.
That's called priorities. They played around the music a lot more, which is cool. Let's see. During this, apparently, I asked the question of where's BlackWarGreymon? What happened to him?
He ran off to listen to My Chemical Romance.
I know, but like, wouldn't it have been really useful here? I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, and they confirm in Japanese when they confirm specifically, everyone has like looked at the final battle in the sky.
Yeah.
Like I thought like in English they're like, oh, we didn't really erase the digital records, and then there'd be something more to it in Japanese. Get the Japanese. I couldn't stop them looking at the sky, but I definitely got rid of their records.
Yeah.
Well, that's useless.
We have a new concept introduced.
I'm sorry, what?
Evolution to Ultimate.
Oh yeah.
What do you think?
No, well, what we have specifically is a Jogress evolving. Right?
It's still the same evolution as a perfect evolving to ultimate.
I don't like
that.
It's
the same name.
I think it's much more interesting as like this is something even. You know what? And I say that, which is a bit like ironic because you could also say like I don't like that they keep adding weird new evolutions.
The dub has it as more as a Jogress evolution because they called it Mega Evolution instead of just regular Digivolution.
Yeah.
And while it is Ultimate Evolution in original, so Mega Evolution is a pretty good translation of it.
Ultimate Evolution is weird because we would always get Warp Evolution.
Yeah, but Warp Evolution is from one that's not directly before it. Whenever we've seen Perfects get to Ultimate, trust me, and they say
it was only the movie.
Same phrase. Yes, but in other
Movie's
things,
not canon.
In other things, it's called. Trust me on this. It's called Ultimate Evolution.
Okay, I'm just saying it was always weird that one episode where you saw male Gurumon have to de-evolve so it could Warp evolve.
Yeah, I think they didn't think that this is a possibility.
So yeah, I mean, I thought it was something different because it was a Jogress dude evolving, which feels like it would be a different path than if either one did it. And clearly a much stronger dude. It's the strongest Digimon of all, didn't you know?
I'm so mad about that.
And what else was it? What was the? Sorry, we got distracted. What was the question?
About the new. I was asking what you thought about the new mechanic.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say like it might be weird. Like I was taken by surprise because Armor Evolutions never evolved beyond what they were.
Oh right.
So like I always thought the Jogress was like an end as well because it's its own thing.
So you didn't think there would be any more evolutions?
So you had an Armor Evolution. That's what you had, and then you had your Jogress Evolution. That's kind of its own thing as well. And those would build. Those were stepping stones until your regular Digimon could do its own thing. So I guess this is what's happening now, and I'm not sure if we should expect the other kids' Digimon to evolve as well. Like, I don't know. Once you've introduced the strongest Digimon of all, but that's it. We have enough episodes. We have plenty of episodes.
Do you want to have a guess at what the other Ultimate Evolutions for the partner Digimon will look like?
Not really. This one was... I'm not sure I could have guessed this one, because, like, let's be totally honest. Stingmon and XVmon, neither of those are dragons. So where did this come... it was, it became Paledramon, I guess. I don't know. Shakurumon could be anything. It could just turn into a sarcophagus.
So, we didn't watch... Well, I watched Digimon Chapter 2 try, but Jay didn't because for a very specific reason.
Oh, it's that.
Because of the Impieldramon that's on the poster.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And look what they're doing to the Impieldramon.
I can't really see.
Vikemon's got his claw on, he's fighting it, and he's about to hit it with a club.
Right.
So yeah, that's why we didn't cover Chapter 2 together.
So is it confirmed Davis is the Digimon Emperor?
Might you have to watch?
Should I be watching it now?
No, we'll cover it together.
Well, there's more spoilers, is what you're saying.
I just think it'd be a bad time to cover it now.
No, I don't mean right now.
Yeah.
I mean that like there's nothing further to get revealed.
No,
in that show.
that's the only spoiler.
Okay.
Because like that's why I was tossing up because it was this one spoiler, and I wasn't sure if you knew about Impieldраmon's existence, so I'm kind of glad I didn't show it to you. So, where's my
question?
Yeah.
Do you still think that Meiku is evil?
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay. Well, like, so you haven't changed your mind.
I have not changed my mind about Meikumon.
Okay, so you still think she's evil?
Yeah, no, I think Meiko's evil.
You think the character is evil?
Definitely, straight up.
Okay.
Alternately, I could be lying to you.
I'm just... It's just about an opinion.
Just watch the show.
Oh, I mean, if I really
Eventually.
have to.
Also, I would like to point out that we are covering Try Chapter 2 after we cover all of Season 2 and the movie, so that we're due to cover try Chapter 2 on the 10th of June and
Around
releasing
the
on
time
11th
that
of
Chapter
June.
3 comes out, probably.
September.
Oh.
And then we're starting Tamers, 17th of June, releasing on 18th of June. Then we're covering the Battle of Adventurers movie, recording 31st of August, releasing 2nd of September, which is the morning of which we go to Japan. So I'll be editing it the night and probably uploading it in the night. And then, then we come back from Japan. Episode 69, recording 23rd of September, releasing 24th of September. I have written out my notes for the timeline very well, and I'm very proud of them. Also, we're starting Frontier on the 13th of January. Yay, Frontier.
Boo, Frontier.
It's a new frontier. So, the Digimon introduced into this episode were Triceramon and P. Ultramon. What do you think?
Triceramon is a huge throwback to, like, Monochromon, and it's just a big
an
dinosaur.
evolution. It involves Monochromon,
Oh,
then Mammothmon, then Triceramon.
That's random. Alright then. And I think
Dinosaurs.
Imperial Ultramon's really cool, actually. It, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of, like, the first time you see, like, Metal Garurumon and WarGreymon and stuff. Except that there's just something about the progression we've had with these characters, in which they've gone dudes, armor evolutions. Okay, well, enough of that. Back to regular evolutions. Regular, okay, Jogress. All right. Well, Stingmon looked like it had armor on it anyway, so let's go. Boom. This next thing, it just looks like a big robot again, and it feels like we've swarmed back to like where an armor evolution would have evolved to. I don't know. I just was never a big fan of armor evolution. Alright everybody, join us next time for the next episode of Bakemonogatari, Digimon World Tour Part 1.
Pretty sure you used that before.
Damn it, we can try again.
No, it's alright. Or New York and Hong Kong, the Battle Royale.
And Digimon World Tour Part 2.
Or Coral and Versailles, the Rebel Fight.
You did it. And Digimon World Tour Part 3.
Or Love and Borscht, the Fierce Fight.
So, Russia, France, and New York and Hong Kong.
What do you think Coral is referring to?
Australia. Great Barrier Reef. Love is still France, I guess?
The show notes are linked in the description. And thanks to our Patreon supporters, Stevie Patamon, who you can find as StevieMon on Twitter. Wu Qinglong, who you can follow on Twitch, twitch.tv/WUQINGLONG, Metal Mamimon, Joe, Penguin Mage, Anime Guy, who you can follow on YouTube at Anime Guy Kurosaki, then the number 1, Chakmon, Sam Krieger, Ishpal Banba, Hiro Alato, who you can follow Hiro Alato on Twitter, and Jason Morosky. See you guys next week.
Bye.